Is laptop a good or service? What about Netflix subscription? What about a haircut? You think these questions are simple, but in GST these questions have got lot of relevance because GST is applicable on goods and services, supply of goods and services, and the GST rates, return filing, place of supply, input tax credit, everything is based on the correct classification of goods and services. So what are goods? Goods, a laptop, a chair, a mobile phone, a desktop, a laptop, everything can be good. Goods can be seen, touched, or it can be moved from one place to another. Whereas services, a haircut is a service. When you're dining in at a restaurant, it's a service because you can only enjoy the benefit. The services are performed. Say, for example, another example, if you go for if you go to a restaurant for a dine-in service, the food you will get, they will cook that, they will serve that, ambience, hospitality, everything included, it is considered as service. So goods and services classification is very important in GST. Now what are how they will distinguish between goods and services? Goods, you have to remember nature, you can physically see that, you can touch that, you can move from one place to another. Whereas services, you can only enjoy that, services are performed. Second is ownership. When you buy the goods, ownership is transferred to you. When you when you ask for some services, ownership is never charged, never transferred to the person. You can only enjoy the benefits of the services. Next is the time of supply. Time of supply in the case of goods, whether the date of invoice, date of removal, date of delivery, that will be the time of supply. Whereas in the case of services, date of invoice, the date when the service is performed, or the date of receipt. These will be the conditions for deciding the time of supply. Now, why this classification is important? This classification is important based on certain conditions or certain reasons, due to certain reasons. First is GST is applicable only when there is supply of goods or services. Second is it ensures uniform GST rates across the country. Then it is helpful in, third is it is helpful in GST, correct GST returns filing. Fourth is it is helpful in finding out the correct exemptions and exemptions and concessions. Some are exempt category, some are zero rate category, some are luxury goods. So all this will decide based on whether it's a proper good or a service. And the next is the correct application of GST rates. See, GST rates range from 0, 5%, 18% and 40%. The correct classification of goods and services and which category it will belong. These are important points for charging the correct GST. So this correct classification of GST, for the correct classification of GST for the return filing, claiming input tax credit, everything, the classification of goods and services is very, very important. So this is an important concept in GST.